Hello and welcome back to MAFT UK. Welcome also to some of the new subscribers I've picked up recently. You're very much welcome to join me. This video, if you're into your fishing guys, this isn't the one for you. If you're into your hiking, again, this isn't the one for you. However, if you're into your hunting, shooting and that sort of stuff, then perhaps this video might interest you. What am I doing? Well, I'm actually reloading some ammunition for the competition that I've got coming up soon. You're welcome to join me. It's not going to be too long a video. Basically, I'm going to show you how to prep ammunition and make some ammunition for a shoot that I've got coming up. I have done a similar video before quite a while back, but I thought I'd give it another go and see if I can make a better job of it. So, welcome and cheers. The process of turning something like that, which is an empty case with no primer and nothing inside, see all the way through, into something like that, which does have a primer, which does have a bullet on it, and these are not full metal jackets, these are soft points. And they're designed to squash and expand on impact. If I can drag up a picture from the internet, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that now. Okay, right. What is the process? Well, first of all, you start off, well, let's say you go, we'll start from the beginning, shall we? We've got a bullet and we fired it. And when we fired it, what you're left with is an empty case like that. Now that empty case has lost all the powder and it's lost its bullet head, but what it hasn't lost is its primer in the back. So you can still see that one's missing. I've taken that one out because I've already cleaned and prepped this round. So what you would do is you would pop the primer. Now you can do that using either the Lee loading system, which is a hand load system, or you can use something like this. And this then will pop out the primer and reshape the round at the same time. So this is called a resizing die. This is the hand version for the Lee loader, where you need that and one of them. But this uses the kinetic energy of a lever. And let me just show you that in a little bit of a close-up. If you look carefully, you will see on the bottom of the resizing die there's a pin, and that pin will eventually pop out the primer through the centre of the round. Now basically we place our bullet on the resizing die and up we go. However, we must make sure before we do anything that we lube up our case. The last thing you want is getting this round stuck in that resizing die, because they're very difficult to get out, and usually it means a new resizing die. How do we do that? You may see a few teeth marks in this one because my dog got it many moons ago. So we place on some lube on our mat, spread it out somewhat, and then all we need to do is roll our ammunition into that, lubing it up, sit it on, and in we go. Now, what just happened there? In the process of taking that up, this round has been pushed back into place, into the right size and shape that it should be. Any primers will have fallen down inside that hole and be collected in this tube at the bottom. And that is the resizing process done. If we were using our Lee loader, and as you can see I still have a percussion cap in the bottom there, then we'd use our decapper, our decapping rod, and place that in there, a couple of whacks, and there you would see Our primer is now out. Now we would resize our round again. Now in this case, you don't really need lube, but you can pop it in the bottom of the reloader. Give it a couple of taps. Make sure it's flush. Put your rod in. And now that round is resized and ready to go. But it's not clean. It's not been cleaned. Now, there are various ways you can clean them. You can clean them by hand if you wish. Clean them by brush. You know, the various different ways of doing it. We're not going into that because the whole process is a long drawn out process of cleaning them, and you need a bit of OCD to do it by hand, which I have done many times. So that was just a quick example of how to use the reloader in that particular circumstance. I have said it previously and I say it again. Reloading is not for the faint-hearted. If you get this wrong, what happens is the gases build up in your rifle barrel. There's too much powder, too much gas, the round can't get out quick enough, and your barrel explodes in your face. It's extremely dangerous to mess with this if you don't know what you're doing. There are people that have spent many months creating books like this to enable you to reload safely. And you must follow it to the letter because it's a science. It isn't a hobby as such. It's a science and you need to understand some of it. So make sure you get yourself a good book, learn how to do the job properly, and then you're safe. Follow the rules and you'll be absolutely fine. The other most important thing as well when reloading with primers or powder, eye protection. You have to have it. One simple mistake, and I've had primers go off in the process of loading, and you could lose your eyesight, and you don't want to do that for sake of cheap old glasses, do you? So always put some eye protection on when you're actually dealing with powder. It's very important. Okay? Now we've got the health and safety out of the way, we can now move forward. So we know now we have 20 clean, resized rounds. We know how to resize it, we just showed you how to do it twice. And all we've got to go through now is the process of putting everything back in. So what do we put back in? How much powder do we put back in? Who tells us what to do? Well, first and foremost, we have to go to the good book. We have to think about what it is we're shooting at, and then that will dictate what size of bullet head I'm going to put on the end, and then I can make my calculations and away I go. It has been proved in the past that my rifle, which is a Remington 700 ADL 243, fires perfectly well with 85 grain bullet heads. They seem to work well in the rifle. Not all rounds work very well. These donkey stoppers, not very good accuracy with those. I mean, short range up to about 200 meters, no issues whatsoever. But anything beyond that, I don't know, they start to tumble a bit. They're not very, I don't know, I don't like those bullets. I'll probably get rid of those on this weekend just to get rid of them. Something like this has a much more better bullet coefficient and travels through the air much smoother. More accuracy. What range? Range is down to you. How good are you at shooting? Alright, we're not going to be doing the 1.5 miles. I wouldn't shoot anything really animals wise beyond 300 meters. There's too much chance for that animal to move its location before the bullet reaches its target and injure the animal as opposed to kill it. It's just too much can go wrong. So that's 20 rounds now. I just checked to make sure they were all the same size. It's been a while since I've put those through the mill, so better safe than sorry. This is shooting. I just thought I'd check again to make sure that they were all resized and everything's fine. What I'm going to do now is just check that my rounds are the right length. I'm only going to do a couple of random checks, random selections. I'm going to use this little device here and basically put that in there, give it a turn. If nothing comes out, no burring, I know that that round is the right length. what happens when the round is fired? It expands to the shape of the barrel. And there are two thoughts on how to reload. You can use what they call a collet die, which just reshapes the neck and leaves the bullet to fit snugly in the chamber. Or you can use a full resizing die, which is what you've seen me use this morning. I have used the collet die. I have got a set of collet dies. They look like that. Basically, all they do is resize the neck, not the actual round, where this reshapes everything back to factory setting. So as everyone I've pulled out there, no dramas with it. One more, just check one more. And as it goes into the shell holder, that little cutting device then will remove any excess brass because it's constantly being reshaped. So I know that the rounds I'm going to be making today will fit my rifle. You can chamber test if you wish. You can put every single round through the chamber and make sure it fits fine if you wish, but long drawn out process and causing unnecessary wear to your rifle. So here we go then. I've got 23 rounds because I'm just going to finish off a load, just make it up to a box of 20 again. Here we are, they're ready for priming. So we now need to put the primer back into the rear of the rifle. Our cleaning process must ensure that that little housing there is completely clear of any debris or anything. So you see inside that little housing, nice and clear, no debris or anything. One of the things you have to watch for when you use a tumbler is that anything can get stuck in there, so you make sure that's nice and clear. We know they're clear. I've checked them all. I'm happy. Time to prime. Now you can use rotary devices like this. Big huge rotary devices, and one turn will prime, one will do this, one will do that, one will do that. Very expensive, can't afford one. I use what we call a hand primer, and that looks like this. This then is my hand primer. It's like a little trigger device, and in the process of squeezing that handle, it takes a primer from the feed tray, drops it into the feed tray, put a round on the top, squeeze the handle, primer case. It's as simple as that. Let me show you. We have to put our gigs on now. As you can see, our primers come in lovely little trays like that. These are number 9.5 large rifle primers made by Remington. I've never had a single problem with any one of these so far. It's always been fine. I've never had a drama with them. I've never had a misfire or anything like that. Now you could say, does it matter which way they go? Yes, it does matter. It's very important which way they go. But this tray is designed that gravity takes them all face the right way. So you give them a shake, and eventually they will all go the right way up. Close the gate so we don't lose one. And we're good to go. Now then, let's recap. We cleaned our cases, we resized our cases, and we made sure there was no ammunition or anything still inside the case, so that when we do prime our round, we're not going to cause any blockages. So everyone we know is checked, and every one of these is good to go, and we know that, we're confident. Now you'll notice that all my rounds are on one side, and as I take them off, I'll put them on here, and it just prevents a double feed. Ideally, in another loading tray, you could put them in there if you wish, but I've got 23, not 20. Okay, so here we go. Let's get the priming underway. Let's open the door and let one drop in, and there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Inside there is now primer facing up, and that's exactly what it needs to be. It'll only load one. We take our round, place it on, and load. That now, nice and flush. It's primed. There is a potential now, if you look down the end of there, that could go off in your face and blind you. And we don't want that, do we? And that's why I've got my eye protection on. I'm now going to do that 23 times. Make sure we got a loaded primer. Squeeze the trigger, and away we go. Let me load the rest of these. I'll see you in a bit. 23 primed rounds. These will be the bullets that I will be putting into the rifle. 85 grain nozzlers. There we go. Just because it says it on the box, it doesn't mean to say it is actually 85 grains. You have to check. So check I did. It makes a difference when you come to reload and how much powder you put in. So if you put the lighter round in and more powder, things start to go wrong. Alright, so we now know what size round we're using. We now have our cases nice and clean. We're now going to go through our book and find out how much powder I need to put in each one of those to ensure that I got a good trajectory, good bullet coefficient, and the right energy behind it to give it its best opportunity to fly through the air at its best. You could probably say, well, why bother with all this messing around, because you know you can just go and buy bullets. Well, yeah, you can actually, yeah. Over about £1.50 a bang, depends on the type of ammunition. Why would you buy poor quality ammunition? You would buy the best. And yeah, £1.50 a bang. Making them myself, 40p. That works out about 40p, maybe 43 pence. That's why. Alright, you got to buy the equipment, but once you've bought it, that's it, you bought it. It's good engineering stuff. It lasts forever. It doesn't break. Unless you don't lube the dies and they break, as I learned. Anyway, back to the good book. I got to find out what powder's going where. Different environments make you use different powders, different bullet heads, different weights, different sizes, different ammunition. All determines which is the best powder. Like I said, there's a lot of science goes into it. It's fascinating stuff. I mean, just look at this page here. 243 Winchester, all those scales and information on there, giving you the bullet over in the top here, look, bullet overall length, all the other information that you need. It's all there for you to check. Amazing stuff. So let's go through the good book. As you can see, this is a 243 Winchester, which is the same as my rifle. We're looking at our powder types down there, and we're going to H3450, Varget, and H4895. I have the first two powders in my stock. I can put a minimum of 42 grains in, and that will give me a feet per second of 2,967. I should never exceed 45.5 grains, and that will give me a velocity of 3,214 feet per second. However, the pressure in the barrel now is increased to 57231 psi. Okay, now if I go down to Varget, I can start with 35 grain. That will give me 3,000 feet per second. I can go up to 38 grain, and that will give me 3,212 feet per second. And the pressure again is slightly higher. It's 58154 psi. I don't have that powder, so I will not be using that. Now if I look down the book even further, I don't have that powder, so I won't be using that. But if I look down the book, it goes up to 87 grain, 90 grains, and so on. You really don't want to mess about when it comes to your powders. You've got to get the books. The books will tell you what to do. Even on the side of the powder, there is information regarding bullets and other information that you could use. So there is a basic guide on here, but it is very basic. But it is a starting point. So do I use Hutchinson H3450 or do I go for the Varget? This is now my sausage machine, and this is how I like to work. As you can see, I have my powder separated from the main pot, so Shouldn't anything go wrong, there's a minimum amount of powder in there and not a full container. So I have my powder. I'll show you some powder later, up close. I have my trickler, which gets it to the final measurement, and then I have my funnel, which I will fill each individual one. Once the round is filled, I will move on and go to the next one. Now I'm going to tell you something quite important. Powders are designed so you can't double charge. If you put too small amount of powder in, there's a possibility that you could put 2 lots of powder in. If you put 2 lots of powder in, by mistake, which is so easily done, you will blow up, the rifle will blow up in your face. So each charge is designed so that it will only take 1 load. So 45 grains, pour that into the rifle, pour that into the round. If you go to put another 45 grains in by mistake, it will overfill and it'll be too much, and you will know. So you won't be able to fit your bullet head, and that's how it's done. It's sort of a built-in safety feature. But if you put your 2 smaller grains in, it is a possibility for you to double charge, and that is disastrous. So here we go. My sausage machine will commence. This is therapy for me. The work that I do, this is total focus. It has to be right. I have to get everything. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the camera off its stand, and I'm going to do it step by step so you can see. It will be a little bit wibbly wobbly, but you'll see how therapeutic it is for me. For me. Okay. So anyhow, here we go. Let's crack on then. Let's pour our first powder into our primed casing. So the first thing we need to do, turn on our scales and grab a scoop full of our ammunition. Place it onto there, and you will see we're reading 40.2 and a bit more, 43. This is a trickler. In there is more powder, and all we do is we now trickle that until it gets to 44, and up we go. Boom! Oh, we got one too many. Take a little bit out. .44. .44. So there we are, our sausage machine is complete, and we have all those rounds with their powder in. If you want to look at some powder and see what form it takes, you see those little tiny barrels, look. See, they're just little tiny barrels. Now, unfortunately, there is always going to be some form of spillage, even if it's just minor. And get as much as that away as possible. Just if you were wondering, it's not because I'm tight that I do that. I do that because I don't want, the more I make ammunition, the more little grains can be of gunpowder all over the place. And do you really want gunpowder all over your floor? So you must make sure you tidy it up. That's the only reason I do it, not because I'm tight. So let's remove our resizing die. Put in our seating die. And now we're good to go to seat our bullet heads. Just have a closer look at the shell holder. So let's get on with nearly the final process of making our ammunition. We place our round into the shell holder. We grab ourselves a bullet. And there we are. One extremely deadly bullet. This will travel at approximately 3,150 feet per second and is extremely flat trajectory. And there we go. 20 rounds, all good to go. Just one more thing to do. The only thing left to do now is to make sure that the case's overall length, okay, so that's 65 millimeters, or if you work in inches, 256 or 260 even, or 258. Yeah, 250. I have no idea what that is in inches. I don't work in inches, but I know that that is 65 mil. So to me, that's absolutely fine. 65 mil is perfect for that round. It's just slightly over its minimum, so that'll do. So let's just take another one. Random checks. 65. One more. 65. Perfect. And there we are. 85 grain nozzlers, 44 grain of H4350, created on 2018. That's all you need to do. So there we go, that's that, all done, all dusted. I know I've got enough ammunition now to see me through until the end of September. The competition's in September, and hopefully by then I shall be in the process of actually moving, so I can start to pack all this stuff away now, get it into my boxes and seal it up, ready for the big move. Hope you enjoyed that, hope you found it useful, and if not useful, maybe, you know, maybe you picked up one or two things you didn't know before. It's an interesting process, scientific process, and it's therapy for me, and I love doing it, so there you go. There are better ways of doing it, there are better equipment, but well, I can't really afford that, and to be fair, measuring out the powder in the way I do, yeah, I like that. It's sad, isn't it, but I like it. Okay, see you next time. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye bye.